Hey everyone, welcome to the Soul on Fire show where we ignite the passion within. I am Noelle Agape and I'm a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. I am super excited for you guys to be here today because we are going to go deep, deep, deep into self-love. We're going to talk about rejection and how it blocks you in every area of your life. We're going to make you understand how the energy of rejection is really, really just you, a lower version of yourself that's not allowing you to be the greatest version of yourself. We're going to talk about abandonment. We're going to talk about how you value yourself as a person. We're going to move into NLP and we're going to do a lot of quantum work today. We're going to talk about what that looks like energetically. We're going to talk about what the highest self looks like. Thank you guys so much for being here that are watching live, and thank you for those that are watching the replay. Today, we're going to have a raw and real topic of self-love. We're going to have a raw and real topic of what it looks like energetically and what's going on in your energetic fields when you are in a vibration of rejection and what that actually even means, right? So rejection starts with your soul and your soul's journey. And it's a really deep understanding of rejection when you understand the energetic fields and the deep quantum that I work with. It truly is a disconnected from source. It's a disconnected from you, yourself, God, source, the universe. And when you, everyone goes through rejection. I mean, I don't care who you are or how big you are. One of the greatest things that we have from the beginning of time, from the beginning of humanity, was we're faced with rejection, right? And society today has built up so much of the paradigm of, love as an external source. And love as an external source means that you cannot find anything outside of you, inside of you. You find things outside of you, right? And so how that looks often is that you seek validation, you seek to fill something outside of you, when self-love truly comes from within. You are love, you are light, we are all love and light. And on the show today, we're going to talk about how deep to understand what it's like to be connected to the vibration of love, what it feels like, how to go through life in the self-love realm, how to go through life when you feel empowered. And so what is rejection? That's a really big word, right? And rejection is even so much to the point of, how society has built us up as, oh my gosh, I don't feel worthy enough. I don't feel good enough. Oh my gosh, do they like me? Do they like my post on Instagram? How many followers do I have? How much are they responding to me? How much do they love me? And everyone has a small fear of rejection in them. And one of the greatest things that you can do in your life is to understand that rejection is really there to teach you. It is there to show you as a guidance system that either that there's a better path for you on your soul's journey, or that you are not loving yourself the way you're supposed to be loved, right? And so rejection is raw and real. Is there's been a lot with me in the last few years with rejection, and a lot has come up with me, and being a TV host and a public speaker, an international speaker, I train people for a living, and how rejection comes in. It comes in as anger. Sometimes it comes in as frustration. Sometimes it comes out as a flat out no. Sometimes it comes in as I'm going to not like you, or hatred. So rejection shows its ugly face in very, very, very many different ways. How it shows itself mostly is rejection of self, right? And so that is the one thing that we're going to work on today. Is I'm going to show you how to understand how to find rejection and the fear of rejection, how it's connected to abandonment, how rejection and abandonment go hand in hand, and how to heal your inner child, right? And all of us have inner child work to do, and I work in the quantum realms, and I work with timelines and time, space, and reality. Yet when we understand that the vibration of rejection is really truly the opposite of love, and it is not loving yourself, and it is not loving source, and it is not connecting to the greatest version of you, then you get to pause and you get to understand, right? And so in today's show, I want you to hang tight because we are going to go deep into all of this. I'm going to allow you to find the fear of rejection in your body. I'm going to show you how to transmute it into actual love energies. And I'm going to show you what it means to move out of rejection. And the greatest thing that we can do is just be super conscious. And you know that I talk about this all the time on this channel is being understanding and conscious of our emotions, right? And what I'm going to walk you through later on in the next segment is how to actually understand your emotional intelligence and where you are, and how to understand if the fear of rejection is blocking you in any way, if the fear of abandonment, if the fear of validation, anytime that you feel like you're needing something outside of you, it truly is the fear of rejection. So we're going to go deep into that. We're going to go deep into self-love, and we are going to go deep, deep, deep into the power of transmuting that and how it really truly transmutes your life into everything that we do today. So we will be right back, guys. I just wanted a quick opener of what we're going to be doing today. And my show today is sponsored by my company, Noelle Agape Global. And I have beautiful practitioners, and I started something called Infinite Wellness. It is all things health, wellness, and consciousness. And today we're going to go deep into rejection. We're going to go deep into validation and understanding that. And everyone that works for me is a practitioner that works in the inner child. They work with your subconscious brain. They work with your energy field, and everyone in Infinite Wellness is here to change the world. We'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here on the live, and thank you for those that are watching it on the replay. Today we are talking about the power of rejection and how to transmute rejection and abandonment into the power of love and self-love, and owning you and understanding the vibrations and manipulating the time and space and manipulating the energies to transmute to yourself to be into a higher version of yourself. And so the meaning of rejection is really, it's a refusal of something, right? And so when you understand that it's a refusal of something, it is your soul refusing that either the situation is not right for you, and or you're actually refusing something within you. So when we go deep into rejection and understand that it's funny because I was like, I have a communication with God's source universe. You guys know that on this channel, I go deep into the quantum fields. And so I was meditating on this show this week, and I said, okay, God, how can what would you like me to teach this week? And what came up so prevalently is that it was really truly that I had to speak about rejection. And rejection came up so much with me as I said, okay, God, how can I do that? Right. And so how it shows up, it's not just, oh my gosh, I don't like you. Oh my gosh, I'm rejecting you and choosing someone else. It's showing up in every area of your life. I mean, it could show up by your finances. It could show up, with your credit score. It can show up when you apply for a job and you don't get the job you need. So rejection is so much, a Democratic Party or a Republican Party. There's so much rejection in this world. And to be honest with you, it's started at the beginning of time when we had a choice, right? We have a choice between, Eve had a choice between choosing the apple and manipulation, right? And so the spirit of rejection shows up within you to take from you. It shows up from you to show you that there is something else inside of you that you truly are not tapped into, right? So we speak vibration on this channel. We merge science and spirituality. And the greatest thing in the world is that we have a choice between understanding that sometimes people are always going to reject you, and sometimes it's harder than others, right? When you have an emotional attachment, and that's what we're going to talk about, is your emotional attachment and your story behind the rejection is what it really shows up in your reality. Now, you guys know the electromagnetic fields. We work on that all the time on this channel, is your heightened sense of your thought and your patterns in your life, right? In your heightened sense of emotion create your reality. And so if you have the fear of rejection, or you have the fear of abandonment, and you have all of these things within inside of you, and inside your energetic fields, inside your emotional fields, inside your emotional body and your physical body stored in there, it can show up as weight gain. It can show up as acne. It could show up as feeling ugly. It could show up as people actually rejecting you or hating you. And it, again, it is truly just a sign to show you that you're not in the right vibration. You're not in the vibration of love. Again, I teach this all the time, all day, every day, is that when your life teaches you and you're not listening, that's your opportunity to take a pause and say, okay, I'm the observer of my life. I get to change this, right? And so as I asked God this week of what he wanted me to teach on, what happened was that rejection came up over and over and over again, with certain things that weren't, I wasn't getting rejected in the past, right? And so with certain people and circumstances and certain things, I felt as if they were rejecting me. And then I paused and I said, okay, I actually asked for this, right? I asked to heal something within me. I heal something within me, and then I teach it out to the world. So I paused when somebody said, a certain situation came up and it was a rejection. And then another situation came up and it was a rejection. And it was like slight little things. It was like a no to something. And then it was like a big no. And then it was, maybe not now, or somebody just kind of pushed me off on a phone call. And, that's when I stopped and I went in and I did the inner work, guys. And I was like, okay, what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? I'm aware that that rejection is here because it was, a no after no after no. It was a no, thank you. It was maybe not now. And so I stopped and I said, okay, what do I have within me that is preventing me from moving through this block of rejection? And guys, the second that I did that, I went in and did the inner work. And you guys know that I'm an NLP trainer and a quantum energy trainer. So I'm constantly working through my energetic fields. I went in and I did the inner work, and it was deep ancestral wounds of rejection. It wasn't just me. It was my family, like down my family line, right? And then I went even deeper, and it was the divine feminine energies that were super, super rejected in this world and society, right? And so I do work on myself, and then I bring it out to society. So I work always on the global level when I'm healing, right? I'm healing myself, I'm healing my clients, and I'm healing on the global level as well. And when you understand that, it's the ripple effect, right? You're understanding that you're transmuting the energy within you to allow yourself to heal, but then it also heals the person that you were working with, right? And so say someone rejected you and you get to a place of transmuting that into love, and you understand that they weren't actually rejecting you, it was you rejecting you. And I'm going to say that again. They were not rejecting you, because God, source, the universe never rejects you, right? What happens often is that when we have external rejection, we feel rejection. Our entire purpose as human beings is to experience and to expand, right? And so rejection is here for expansion. It's showing us where we need to not be any longer, right? So somebody that I love tremendously rejected me this week, and it wasn't like a flat out rejection. It was just, something that I wanted and that person didn't want as well. And instead of, at first, I got super upset. I mean, like probably more upset than I've been in a very, very long time. And then I paused and I said, wait a minute. If I'm this upset and I'm this triggered and it is somebody that I love that is showing me rejection, how can I transmute this? And so what I did was I stopped and I went within and I found the ancestral trauma of rejection. And I went back, and again, it was to the divine feminine, and it was rejecting the feminine energies, and the wounded masculine was hurting the divine feminine. And in my life and in society is what came up for me. And when people are in the wounded masculine energies, guys. It is a very aggressive, it's a very hurtful energy, right? And so rejection will trigger that. Rejection will trigger the wounded masculine, and it will you'll get super defensive, or you'll get aggressive, or even fear of rejection will allow you to maybe even be aloof and put a wall around people. And so if you have a fear of rejection, you either don't let people in, or you work so hard to make it happen so one is the wounded feminine and one is the wounded masculine, right? The neglect and pushing out is the wounded feminine. The very needy, the very anxious energy is also the wounded feminine, but the wounded masculine energy gets aggressive. And so what happened with me, and I'm not an aggressive person very often, I'm usually very bubbles and unicorns. But what I realized more than anything, guys, was that when I get triggered, I went into my rejection, and I went into my, when I was a child, my abusive, narcissistic, alcoholic father instantly came up. But guys, I do this for almost 19 years, and I'm a quantum energy trainer, and I still had something come up. That's what I'm saying, is that you guys are always going to have something come up over and over again. So what I have learned to do, and this is two different ways that rejection rears its ugly head in your life. You either become super defensive and you cannot accept criticism, which I am learning to do, and that's part of self-love, is understanding when people have constructive criticism, and when they don't have constructive criticism, and you're not the victim. You just have to learn how to handle that, and then I'll talk about that a little bit later. Or you overcompensate, right? That's what I did. I'm a type A. I'm an athlete. I'm a mover and a shaker. I'm a workhorse, right? I'm a unicorn in one breath and a wild horse in another. And I say that all the time. Yet I have overcompensated my entire life for, my teachers calling me stupid, and my counselor in high school saying, you'll never be smart enough to go to college. So what did I do? I worked extremely hard and became salutatorian of grad school, and went to 14 years of grad school, and I worked tremendously hard at my business, and that I stopped. And again, this is a massive lesson just for me this week, guys, raw and real, 19 years later, and I'm still doing it. And I got triggered. Because I hadn't healed the ancestral trauma within me. I hadn't healed anything that was going on within me. I had always kind of just, and this is raw and real, guys. My dad was super abusive, and he was an alcoholic, and he was terrible, terrible to my mom and my family. He abandoned us, he left us, and then tried to have a relationship with us. And so I had a very deep fear of rejection that I didn't even actually connect with, right? So how that was showing up in my relationships was I was always in control, right? If I wasn't in control in a relationship, then I felt super unsafe, right? And that is that's a massive fear of rejection. Is if you're showing up in a relationship and you always have to be the one that's in control. That actually, again, the wounded masculine, so my wounded masculine within me, again, I do this for a living, and this is 19 years that I've been doing this, and still it shows up in my life, is that I had the wounded masculine that I had to balance. And what I did realize is that what is going on in society today is really the wounded masculine as well. And there's so much rejection out there, right? We are programmed to have somebody needs to like us, somebody needs to call us back, somebody needs that instant gratification of the text or whatever it may be. Yet in reality, that moment that I got rejected, that moment that someone I love from my soul was just like, no, 100% no. It was a firm no. And I went into my old tactics, right? Manipulation and coercion and trying to sell and overcompensating. That's what I did. I was, and then I realized it was like, oh my gosh, no. That's actually the wrong way to handle this. I have the work to do. Like, go in and find out how are you feeling right now? And I was like, wow, I feel super frustrated right now. I feel super upset right now. I feel like this person is rejecting me. I went into the feeling of rejection as opposed to blaming someone else. I went into the feeling of rejection and I was like, oh, so this is happening in my life and how can I be better from that? And then probably 5 or 6 other things came up this week with rejection after that to make sure. It was like, okay, that's the fear of rejection that's coming up. It shows up as abandonment. It shows up as neglect. It shows up as anger. It shows up to suck your energy away from you if you let it. But the other side of rejection is always, always honor and respect and acceptance, right? And so when you work through that, that is such a powerful force. The other point of rejection, guys, is a big thing is people they put up heart walls, right? And so a heart wall is just a stream of emotions and energetics fields that you've put around your wall to not let people in. So the person that I'm with and I've spent 7 years of my life with, I love more than my soul, his defense mechanism is he retreats, right? I attack and he retreats. And so if I attack him, he retreats. And he's like one of my favorite humans on the planet, and him and my children teach me more than anyone else on this in this earth. And if I didn't honor, and there was a moment where I wasn't honoring him when he was retreating, and if I don't honor him in that moment when he needs to retreat and he needs to figure out his life, and I start to attack, the rejection is going to come on even further, right? And so you're going to go down this rabbit hole of this energetic force that is really, really, really powerful. And Abraham Hicks says this all the time about momentum, is that when you're in a vibration and it has momentum, it's either going to gain more momentum and keep going in a destructive way, or it's going to burn and crash, or you have to retract and pull away, right? And so retraction is healthy when it comes to rejection, but it's not healthy when you're putting up barriers and you're truly saying, no, I don't want to let anybody in because I'm afraid to get rejected. And our ego will always, 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 always say, no, it's not fear of rejection. They're being a jerk. They're being, they're treating me like this, and it will never come back to you, right? The ego never, ever will allow you to understand that it is you that needs the work. So with that being said, rejection is a powerful force, but it could be used to gain tremendous, tremendous, tremendous things in your life. When you turn the anger and the hurt and the sadness and the victimhood and the abandonment and all the things that come with rejection around, and you get empowered from that, right? And I think this week I gained the greatest respect when just through the study and through the energetic work and through all that I do, because I prepare for every show every week. I prepare for it mentally and energetically. I think the greatest thing in the world is that, like, salespeople truly are like, okay, if they're good in sales, they've mastered the art of rejection, right? Because you're going to probably get about 50 no's before you get one yes, or maybe even more, right? And so salespeople have mastered the art of rejection. That's what we have to do in our daily life, guys. We have to have enough self-love and enough self-confidence to understand that coming from a place of the wounded child or the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, that really is it's a powerful, powerful place, because you get to be in the divine masculine, you get to be in the divine feminine, you get to be in the empowered state of being that you are. So understanding relationships is such a tremendous part of rejection. Maybe understand where that person is. Maybe they're not rejecting you. Maybe society's not rejecting you. Maybe it's the energy that you're emanating out into the world, right? And it's not a maybe, it's 100%, that nothing happens in the energetic field outside of you in the external world, in the 3D, without it being going on with you and internally. So if if you have lack in your life in any way, whether it's lack of money, whether it's lack of in relationships, whatever it may be, rejection is lack. 100%. And it shows up as lack often as an energy. And it could be one of the greatest teachers of your life, right? If you don't understand that sometimes things come to you and you reject them. And sometimes lessons come to you and you reject them, right? So God, source, the universe is talking to you all day, every day. It says, hey, Noelle, go over here. You have enough self-worth to do this. You can sign that $1 million contract. Go over here. Okay, you're going to be a TV host. Okay, you're going to be an international speaker. Go this way. No, you're going to be with the love of your life. Go this way. And sometimes your ego is like, no, it's too scary over there, because if I go over there, they may say no to me, right? And so if we don't feel loved and accepted and we don't feel safe in where we're going, our ego will always talk us out of it. When we have emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity, and I speak about this so often in all of my programs, is that you get to be the observer of your life. You get to handle things not from a 4-year-old wounded child place, but you get to handle things from a spiritual mature place. Spiritual maturity is one of the biggest, the greatest gifts that I have learned through my spiritual journey, but probably over the last 3 years more than anything in my life. Emotional intelligence, I've always had this amazing connection to emotional intelligence. And there is a difference between emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity. And the difference between emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity is understanding emotions at a high level. You know, I have 14 years of grad school working with emotions. I'm a counselor, an NLP trainer, a quantum energy trainer. I have high emotional intelligence. But spiritual maturity is the next level beyond that. Spiritual maturity is taking the knowledge of emotional intelligence and moving it into the observer of your life. Oh, hey, I felt rejected in that moment right now. Yeah, I actually attacked that person because I wasn't in control. I didn't feel safe in that moment right now. That's literally what is going on. When you get to have a conversation with your ego and not allow your ego and your mind and your body and your energy fields to be controlled and you control them, that is spiritual maturity. Again, emotional intelligence is understanding the emotions at a deep level. That's wonderful. And it's super important to have emotional intelligence. The next level of the quantum that many haven't tapped into is the spiritual maturity aspect of it, right? The spiritual maturity aspect of it is understanding that we are in this human body, and everyone that is in this human body, everyone that is listening to this show, we're still in embodiment, meaning that we are not in enlightenment. And if we were in enlightenment, we wouldn't be in a human body. So spiritual maturity is working with that embodiment of being in the embodied, empowered within you, right? And so spiritual maturity, and this is a lot of people, this is big, because many people won't get to spiritual maturity. Many people will get to the emotional intelligence. And that really is the past decade, people have finally mastered emotional intelligence, and so many masters are coming out in their life, and a lot of gurus. But what they're not understanding is that you have to go past the emotional intelligence. You have to get to the spiritual maturity. When somebody rejects you, when somebody doesn't text you back or call you or love you back or show you something the way that you want to be loved, or even just a no at the grocery store, it's as simple as that. Life is filled with rejection. Life is filled with abandonment. Life is filled with certain things. Spiritual maturity is going into your life as an observer and understanding and learning from every single lesson that comes up. Oh, wow. This person actually rejected me, maybe because they're not in a place where they're in their heart isn't open yet. Or maybe I don't know what's going on in their life. Maybe they're just having a really bad day. Or maybe I'm getting rejected because there's something better in the realms for me. When you can look at rejection as not being something that's hurtful to you, but something that is actually, and they say all the time, a man's rejection is God, God's protection is a man's rejection, which is wonderful. But let's go even further than that. Energetically, what is it showing you? Energetically, rejection is showing you that you're not in alignment with what you want. It is the opposite of what you want, right? So even if it's an ice cream cone and somebody says to a child, I want ice cream, and the parent says no, right? It's dinner time. It's still rejection. It's that little teeny form of rejection. But behind that is your desire, right? And so if you can work through the rejection as an observer with emotional intelligence and then moving past that into spiritual maturity, you can actually have this space in your life where things can happen to you and people won't like you and people will say no to you, and then you will move to a different place in your life. And so what you need to understand about spiritual maturity, guys, is that you are manifesting all day, every day, all day, every day. And what is showing up in your life, in your external, is only thing that is going on in your internal world. And so if you're being rejected, you're not in alignment with your desire. So rejection is actually fantastic because it shows you where you are. It shows you exactly where you are with the intent of your manifestation and your desire, right? Is it starting to click now? So emotional intelligence is understanding that you know the emotions behind it, and that there are other people that are involved, understanding their emotions and allowing them to be in that space. You are not in control of anybody else's emotions. You are not responsible for anyone else's emotions. You're responsible for your emotions. And that's spiritual maturity. Going to the next level, managing your emotions, you're still going to be human. You're still going to get triggered. We have emotional triggers to heal. We have emotional triggers to move past. But energetically, the spirit of rejection or the energy of rejection, whatever you want to call it, it's showing you that you're not in alignment with your desire. That's all. That's all it is. So go in, do the inner work, and say, okay, big deal. Hey, ego, and I'm getting emotional by saying this because it's such a beautiful gift when you understand this, guys. It will change your life, I promise you. When you sit and you get quiet and you get out of your monkey brain and you get out of the brain that you're not worthy and you're not good enough and you're not safe and secure and protected in this moment. But you get to the point where you say, okay, God, universe, source, and even if you don't believe in God and the universe, then probably this channel's not for you. But if you don't believe in God and source in the universe, you have to believe that there's a higher version of yourself. Sit down, get quiet, talk to the rejection. I know that sounds crazy. Whoa, oh, hey, rejection, I see you. What's behind that? Oh, it's fear. What's that fear? Oh, it's fear of intimacy because I got hurt when I was a child. My alcoholic father, who was a narcissist, he came at me and attacked me. So, yeah. I'm 50 years old and this is still coming up. I do this for a living and it's 19 years later and it still comes up, right? Oh, hey, rejection. I see you. It's a little bit painful for me to be with you right now. Let's talk. Guys, this is my life. I am not even kidding you. I have conversations with fear. I have conversations with anger. I have conversations with people energetically before I actually have a conversation with them. If I'm fighting with someone, then I pause. I'm telling you guys, I got triggered, and within 5 minutes of hurting the person that I love more than anyone other than my kids, I stopped and I said, and he even said to me, he said, well, this is you. This is not me. And at first I wanted to attack. At first I was like, no, it's you. You're being an asshole. Sorry. But then I stopped and I was like, wait, no, it's not you. It's me. And then I said, all right, babe, I got to take a minute. And I went that night and I did my work. I literally was like, I need space because I needed to go in and I needed to find what was going on with the fear of rejection, right? And so I did the work, and that's spiritual maturity. And I sat with myself and guys, it was not comfortable. I was like, wow, I attacked somebody that I love. I wasn't in control. I mean, and it wasn't like attacking where it was violent or anything. It was just, an argument that couples get into. And so it was still not okay because the rejection that I was feeling wasn't coming from him. He was just mirroring what was going on with me so I can learn the lesson, so I could teach it, right? So I can have this show, so I can allow somebody on, whoever is watching on the live and the replay, to feel loved and feel worthy and feel deserving and feel like they are safe enough to move into that space. And that's what I do, guys. I go through an experience and then I teach. One of the most powerful moments in my entire life was I was sitting in my bed with me, raw and real. This week it happened. And I was like, how did this show up in every area of my life? How has it shown up in my finances? How has it shown up in my business? How has it shown up in my team? How has it shown up in the slightest little thing? And guys, little teeny things came up, like constructive criticism from my team. I was like, I always had things that I would like counter with. They'd say, oh, well, this can be better. And I'd be like, oh, okay, but there's a reason for that. And then I stopped and I said, wait a minute. So every area of my life, I'm pushing out rejection. How does that look for everyone on a daily basis? It looks like even if you're living your best life, there are moments in time where you feel rejected, but you have to have enough of a relationship with self, enough self-love, enough self-respect, enough honor, enough all that you are. You have to stop and say, wow, I see my ego and it is in control. Or I get to have spiritual maturity. I get to have emotional intelligence first, and then I get to move to spiritual maturity. And I get to move beyond this rejection and allow that to be. Because as soon as I'm in alignment with my desire, the rejection will go away. I'm going to say that again, guys. As soon as I am in alignment with my desire, full alignment, it's the law. It has to show up. The electromagnetic fields. What was showing up in my life, I had a fear of abandonment and a fear of rejection and a fear and I had anger towards that and I had frustrated towards that. And I projected that onto someone I love tremendously. He had enough spiritual maturity to have boundaries. And that's the next step, guys. Boundaries. When someone is projecting their fear of rejection onto you, or you're projecting your fear of rejection onto someone else, what's going to happen is they are either going to retract and they're going to really resent you more. They're going to bail and just disconnect from your life, or they're going to cave because they don't want to hurt you. And that is the most toxic of all. Because when somebody comes into the place from rejection and manipulation and all of these really low vibrations, it is going to be extremely toxic and it'll just spiral into something really, really bad. So I'm going to ask you now in this space, what are the little things in your life that you feel rejected? The likes on Instagram, in your relationships, in your business, in your love life. One of the biggest things you can ever do in your life is learn to have a relationship with rejection. You don't want me? Okay, thank you. Thank you for showing me that I'm not in alignment with my desire. Maybe it's not you, maybe it's someone else. You don't need me, and no one should ever need someone, honey. And that's the most important thing I want to say is that I keep saying that, but when you're in a vibration of need, that really is the vibration of rejection, right? I need you to validate me. I need you to be in this space. I need you to love me. I need this to happen. I need this. That is rejection. And when you're in that vibration, the universe will show you over and over and over and over again that you're in the vibration of rejection. How do you do that? You just pause and look at your life. Look at what is going on in your life right now. What is going on in your life right now? Where are you in every area of your life? I do this with my team, always. I do this with my kids, always. I do this with myself, always. I do this with my partner, always. Where are we in this part of our life? Where are we in this part of our life, in our finances, in our business, in our health? How in my body, and how am I rejecting my own body? How am I rejecting the foods that I'm eating? How am I rejecting myself by not working out today? How am I rejecting myself by not doing that extra task that I need to do? Avoidance is such a huge part of rejection. Procrastination is huge part of rejection. You're afraid to do it because you're afraid someone's not going to love you and you're afraid to be rejected. When you have enough spiritual maturity to move through it and understand that rejection is not your truth. You are love, you are light, you are a powerful being. You get to have all of the energies of all of the masters that have ever walked this earth. And I promise you, when you dabble in the quantum fields, you'll understand that there is nothing that you can't do in this lifetime. The rejection and the fear and the abandonment and the neglect, it all is your inner child. I say all the time, if you leave a 4-year-old alone in your house and you come back 4 hours later with a 4-year-old alone in a house, how would that look? Your house would be a disaster. You don't even know if that 4-year-old child would be alive, right? Guys, you're leaving your inner child alone with your life. You're leaving your inner child alone with your energies. You're leaving your inner child alone with your body. I promise you, if you look into the energy of rejection, it is one of your greatest gifts. Because on the other side of that rejection is your manifestation and your desire. The dreams that you want are behind the broken feminine, the wounded masculine. Go in, speak to the wounded masculine, speak to the wounded feminine. I'm going to go deep into that into the next segment. We will be right back, guys. We're going to take a short break. We're going to talk about rejection and the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine, how that looks, how that shows up in your life. We will be right back, guys. Hi guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for watching the Soul on Fire show. My name is Noelle Agape. I am a leading expert in health, wellness, and consciousness. I am an NLP trainer, a quantum energy trainer, and a licensed counselor. And guys, today we are talking about rejection. Excuse me. We are talking about the power and the energy of rejection and how to transmute that. We're talking about how it looks and shows up in your life. It shows up as anger. It shows up as abandonment, neglect. It shows up as the wounded child, right? And it shows up in your life on a daily basis. I promise you guys that even if you are the most powerful person in your life, and even if you have your life entirely dialed in, rejection will always show its face. It's just how you handle it. And it's your spiritual maturity that gets you there, right? And so we talked about the difference between emotional intelligence and spiritual maturity. We talked about how when you have emotional intelligence, you understand emotions in great depth, which is wonderful and fantastic. But the next level in the quantum is spiritual maturity. And when you have spiritual maturity, that's at the level of the masters, right? And so let's talk about the wounded feminine and the wounded masculine and how that looks with rejection. Super powerful in relationships. This is a really powerful tool in relationships to understand and know how to manipulate, right? So the wounded masculine shows up as very aggressive. It shows up as it needing control. It shows up as abusive at times. It shows up as it's a powerful force, but really even society, I would say right now, is moving out of the wounded masculine. And how the divine masculine looks, it is strength, it is power, it is motivation, it is initiation, it is action. So somebody that has spiritual maturity would work with rejection in the divine masculine, in the sense of they would stop and they would say, okay, what actions need to be taken right now, right? Just as I explained in the first segment, that instead of attacking, you pause and say, what actions need to be taken? How can I be different? How can I be better? Right? That is the divine masculine. It's saying, I need to work through this to be a better person. How can I be a better person for myself and the person that's involved in the situation. The divine masculine with rejection understands that it's really just a lesson for you, and you get to do something different in your life. You get to take some kind of inspired action that's different in your life, right? And so the wounded feminine shows up as very needy, very passive aggressive, often, reclusive, putting walls up, not allowing people in, and truly shutting down. That is the wounded feminine, just completely shutting down. The divine feminine is inspiration and creativity, and it is spirituality. And so when you understand that the divine feminine when it comes to rejection, if rejection shows up in your life and you go into the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies and you balance them, the divine feminine shows up in the way of, okay, how can I do this? You connect to source, you connect back to spirit, you connect to your highest self, and you say, okay, how do I get back to love? Through meditation, through walks in nature, through petting your dog, doing something you love, being creative, right? But handling the situation in the sense of the spiritual maturity is literally saying, okay, so the divine feminine, I'm allowing this beautiful, beautiful relationship with the fear of rejection to come through. And I'm going to have this spiritual relationship with rejection. And when you have a spiritual relationship with rejection, it's, wow, this person is growing, and they're rejecting me because God, source, the universe, is protecting me, or they're rejecting me because this person is going through something in their life. Not even just they're rejecting me, but I'm feeling rejected. That's the highest level of spiritual maturity, and working with the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies is okay, I feel rejected right now. What is going on with me? What is the emotion behind the rejection? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it hurt? Is it sadness? Is it guilt and shame? Do I feel I'm not worthy? Do I feel I'm not good enough? Do I feel not safe right now in this moment? Do I feel not loved or lovable in this moment? Do I feel like I'm not whole or complete? Those are all working in spiritual maturity, and those are working with yourself. Okay, right now I feel fear, and right now I feel not worthy enough. So what do I have to do about that, right? So I'm going to tap in. I'm going to connect to my highest self. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do the energetic work that I need to. I'm going to clear my chakras. I'm going to go into my aura. I'm going to do the energetic work. I'm going to understand. I'm going to have an awareness. Every time rejection comes up, I'm going to have an awareness with it. I'm going to have a relationship with it. I'm going to say, okay, rejection, you're here again. Oh, you're still teaching me. I have more of my lesson to learn. That's the divine feminine, right? Then the action part of it is the divine masculine. So how can I be different? Okay, this is showing, rejection is showing up in my life again. Let me do the inner work, divine feminine, spiritual maturity, and then get to the divine masculine. What do I need to do differently? How can I be different? This is showing up. How can I be different this time than the last time it showed up? The last time I got into an argument with my partner, this time, can I pause and take accountability, right? Accountability is such a huge component when it comes to spiritual maturity. Accountability is such a huge component when we're working with energy. Awareness and accountability, those are my two things that I teach all the time. If you have an awareness of your emotions and you have an understanding of what is going on with you, the awareness is 90% of the battle, because once you're aware of what it is, the subconscious allows it to release, right? So once it's deep into your unconscious mind, not even it's your subconscious mind first, but you're deep into your unconscious mind, it's just a pattern in a loop that keeps repeating itself. But energetically, it's a pattern in a loop too. So you're caught in not only in the neural network pathways that are looping within your brain, NLP, that's fine. But even in the quantum, it's more than that. It is energetically, you're still in the same vibration of victimhood. You're still in the same vibration of things not working out for you, that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough. So really, 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 truly, guys, rejection is showing you the way. Spiritual maturity is this beautiful gift that you get to work with your emotions. You get to work with your subconscious and your unconscious, your energetic fields. You get to work with your highest self. You get to work with God, source, the universe. You get to do this, guys. And so Many that aren't ready it won't resonate with them, right? Many that want to stay in the victim will say, no, I'm the one that is been victimized. This person did this to me. This person abandoned me. This person rejected me. This person did this to me. That's a very low vibration, and that's somebody with very low emotional intelligence and somebody with very low spiritual maturity. I always ask you to rise, right? Because working with me never is an easy journey. Working with Infinite Wellness is never an easy journey. We push you and we push you to your highest, greatest version of yourself. Yet, I promise you guys that everyone at Infinite Wellness is so deeply qualified that they are all NLP practitioners. They're all quantum trainers. They are all working at the highest level to get you to the greatest version of yourself. And they're highly skilled and highly qualified. With that said, if you do need help, we have tons of free products that you can go to at noelleagape.com. Go to YouTube, get a book. If you need support in any way and you're not getting it, that is your choice that you are making. You need to understand, guys, that consciousness is a choice. Spiritual maturity is a choice. Emotional intelligence is a choice. There's so many opportunities for you to become a better version of you every day, all day, every day. When you understand that rejection is just a part of that path, and nothing, and Deepak says this all the time, right? Nothing is good or bad, it just is. And when you attach that story subconsciously and unconsciously, that story that keeps running over and over and over again in your mind, and then in your energetic fields, that's what's showing up in your reality. But your spiritual maturity is, your emotional intelligence is understanding that. It's the awareness part, right? And the action behind that is the spiritual maturity. I'm going to say that again. The emotional intelligence is the understanding the emotion that shows up. But if you don't do anything and you don't change your behavior at all, it's not emotional intelligence. It's actually emotional immaturity, right? And so the spiritual maturity is taking action to become a different person. How can I be different this time? How can I literally change my behavior? I get to choose. Oh, rejection showing up again for me. I'm feeling hurt. Yeah, I'm feeling rejected. I'm not feeling worthy right now. I'm not feeling good enough right now. And then you can go down that path of self-pity. You have two choices once you have awareness. Go down the path of self-pity or self-awareness. You go into spiritual maturity by saying, okay, I'm going to take accountability. Because why is this showing up in my fields? This is showing up in my life because A, it's there to teach me. And B, it's not healed. I have something inside of me that I have to heal. And C, I have some spiritual growth to do. And if you don't look at yourself in that component every single time something shows up in your life, guys, you're still in victim. I'm going to repeat that again. If you're not looking at yourself and saying, this is showing up in my life, what is it teaching me? How am I responding to it? What am I feeling right now from this? How can I be different? This is not serving me. I need to change. That's your responsibility. You are not responsible for anyone else's emotions. You're not responsible in any way for anybody else. You're not responsible for their growth. You're not responsible for their emotions. You're not responsible to fix people. That is not your job. Actually, your soul, more than anything in the world, does not want to fix anyone. Your soul and soul contracts, and that's a whole nother show. Your soul has agreed to all of this for experience and expansion. And that's it, right? And so your soul's journey is such a beautiful gift. And when you understand that your soul's journey is to expand, guys, you get to expand. You get to, no one is in charge of your emotions and you're not in charge of anyone else's emotions. You get to own you. Guys, you get to own you. Oh, rejection showing up. I have some work to do. Okay. Yeah, I'm not showing up as my best self. Maybe that's why rejection is showing up. Or, there's ancestral trauma and patterns that are locked into your energetic fields. And that's when you have to go deep into the energetic fields and do the work, right? There's nothing in your life that you cannot manage. I promise you that, guys. There's nothing in your life that you cannot manage. There are situations in my life that come up all the time that are crazy ass situations that I am like, how does this even come into my world but you can't have the really, really highs without the really, really lows. And I play in the quantum field, so I go on, magic carpet rides. And I have to understand that the lows are there on this earth. The lows are never going to go away. They're just not. But we get to choose our vibration. We get to choose the story that we put into our mind. We get to choose who we are. And it's not going to happen overnight and instantly. They're like, oh my gosh, dude, I handled the rejection so amazing today. Yeah, maybe that is because maybe that's where you're in alignment with. Or maybe it'll just show up and be like, oh, okay, I see rejection and I see where they're at and I have some work to do. Okay, thank you. I love you. Have a good day. When you get to the point where things are not triggering you as they used to, that's when you've had spiritual growth and spiritual maturity. When you get to the point where you've done so much work on something, but something is not shifting, it is because you still have more work to do. Go deeper. Go deeper. And I say this to my clients, and half the time they I push them really far, but my clients and my team, I say all the time, go deeper. It's within you. The person that you want, the thing that you want, everything that you think is rejecting you is within you. You're just not connected to it energetically. You're not feeling worthy. You're not feeling loved. You're not feeling good enough. It is within you. I promise you. And maybe that person that's rejecting you or that thing that is rejecting you is because there's something better for you around the corner. When you get to a place where you're just like, yeah, we weren't a good match vibrationally anymore. Or I'm not a match with that vibrationally yet, but I actually get to do the internal work and get there and fill in my grid. And once the grid's filled in, it's going to show up. It just happens. That is life. When you do the work and you are an energetic match to it, it will show up. So whatever is showing up in your life, guys, good, bad, or indifferent, that is where you are in the quantum. The greatest thing in the world is that there's an infinite field of possibilities. You get to play in the quantum when you understand that the depths of the power that is within you. You are so powerful. You are so light. You are such a gift to this world, and you get to change your vibration, your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit. You get to be a better version of you all day, every day. You get to show up in a different way next time rejection shows you its ugly face. Turn to it and say, oh, hey, rejection, we're going to be friends. Hard thing to swallow. I understand that. And I know. But you are more powerful than you will ever know, and it is within you. Guys, if you need help in any way and you feel you don't know how to handle rejection, you don't know how to handle emotional intelligence, you don't know how to handle your energy, you want to be a better version of yourself, please like, share, and subscribe this because there are so many people that need to hear this about rejection. But if you need help, go to noelleagape.com. I promise you, our entire mission at noelleagape.com and Infinite Wellness is to make the world a better place. We're here to help you. There are tons of free products that they're there for you. Healing is a choice. Becoming the best version of you is a choice. Leaving victimhood is a choice. You get to not be the victim. You get to be victorious. I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.